Take a drive down any major auto alley in Sydney, Melbourne, or Brisbane right now, and you will witness something that would have been completely unthinkable just 3 years ago. Thousands of brand new, fully optioned $80,000 dual cab Utes sitting absolutely motionless under dealership floodlights, gathering dust, baking in the sun, going nowhere. The buyers have vanished. The music has stopped. And behind the glass walls of those shiny showrooms, the sales managers are quietly losing their minds. The golden era betrayal. To understand why this collapse is happening, you have to understand what the Australian Ute actually was before the marketing departments got their hands on it. The Ute was born in this country, full stop, conceived right here on Australian soil as the answer to a very specific, very practical problem. A vehicle that could take the farmer to church on Sunday and haul the livestock to market on Monday. That was the entire brief. And for decades, Australian Utes delivered on that brief with absolute conviction. Think about what you were buying in 1985, a Falcon Ute, a Commodore, a bare bones Hilux, a Patrol, honest machines built around 3 uncompromising pillars. Affordable, mechanically transparent, meaning any reasonably competent bloke with a socket set and a free Saturday could fix one in the driveway. And utterly, almost offensively, indestructible. I knew a bloke who ran a 1989 Hilux on a cattle property in North Queensland for 22 years. Same engine, same gearbox, same transfer case. The only things he ever replaced were the clutch, 2 sets of tires, and a taillight lens that a particularly aggressive goat took exception to. 2 decades of punishment on some of the worst corrugated tracks in the country never left him stranded once. Try telling that story about a 2024 dual cab with lane keep assist and a 12-inch touchscreen. I will wait. Somewhere around 2012, the marketing departments in Detroit and Tokyo had a moment of collective genius. They realized they could take that same commercial ladder frame chassis, throw in leather seats, aggressively flare the wheel arches, give it a name that sounds like a Greek god or a weather event, and charge $80,000 for it. They gentrified the workhorse, transformed the tradie's most essential tool into a lifestyle accessory for weekend warriors who use the tray twice a year to bring home a potted plant from Bunnings. And the payload capacity has become a complete joke. Load up a modern luxury Ute with a bull bar, canopy, dual battery, fridge, and 4 passengers, and on many variants, you are already over the legal limit before a single tool goes in the back. The Australian Ute identity was built on capability and affordability. What they are selling you today is neither. The mechanical time bomb. Let us open the bonnet, because this is where the story stops being frustrating and starts being genuinely terrifying. When you hand over $80,000 for a Ute, your brain makes a completely reasonable assumption. Price tag equals bulletproof drivetrain. You assume you are buying longevity. That assumption is a devastatingly expensive mistake. Here is the core problem in plain language. Modern Utes are no longer powered by the heavy, understressed engines that built their reputations. The legendary TD42 Nissan, the Toyota 1HZ, massive chunks of cast iron that made modest power and loafed along at a fraction of their theoretical limits all day long. They had thermal headroom, they had mechanical forgiveness built into their bones. Then government emissions regulations got stricter, fuel economy targets got more aggressive, manufacturers faced an impossible ultimatum: shrink the engines or face billions in regulatory fines. So they ripped out the heavy-duty power plants and replaced them with tiny, highly strung 2-liter 4 cylinders. Then to make that 2-liter engine haul a 2.5-ton truck with a 3-ton Caravan in 40-degree Queensland heat, they bolted on twin turbos and cranked the boost pressure into the stratosphere. Here's the analogy. You need to move a massive pile of bricks. You could hire a 120-kilo powerlifter, steady, calm, never breaking a sweat. Does it every day for 20 years. That is your old school, large displacement diesel. Or you fire the powerlifter, hire a 60-kilo teenager, Pump him full of energy drinks and make him sprint the entire time. He gets the job done. For a while. That teenager is sitting under your bonnet right now. Cylinder pressures are at race car levels. The thermal load is destroying the oil's molecular structure faster than the service schedule accounts for. And the oil itself is part of the problem. Modern engines run zero-weight oils so thin they feel like tap water on your hands. That fluid is the only thing standing between your crankshaft and catastrophic metal-on-metal destruction. Zero forgiveness, zero margin for error. Physics always wins, and right now, physics is winning. The emissions equipment killing your engine. Now let us talk about the real assassins, because the downsized engine and the water-thin oil are only half the story. What is actually finishing these motors off are the emissions control systems bolted onto them. And once you understand what these systems are doing to your engine every single day, you will never look at a new diesel the same way again. First, the EGR valve, exhaust gas recirculation. To meet government emissions targets, your engine cannot simply push its exhaust gases out the back and be done with it. The EGR valve takes hot, soot-filled toxic exhaust gas and routes it directly back into the clean intake manifold to be burned a second time. Noble goal. Catastrophic execution. Imagine running a marathon while someone straps a mask to your face and forces you to breathe your own exhaled carbon dioxide the entire time. That is what your engine is doing every single second it runs. That black sticky soot mixes with oil vapors from the crankcase ventilation system, and together they cook into a thick tar like sludge that slowly chokes your intake manifold. The engine suffocates, power drops, fuel consumption climbs. Eventually, you are up for a full teardown and ultrasonic clean costing several $1,000s in labor before a single replacement part is even ordered. The manufacturers know this happens. They consider it acceptable scheduled maintenance. I consider it a design flaw. They decided it was cheaper to ignore than fix. Then there is the DPF, diesel particulate filter, a ceramic honeycomb trap in your exhaust that catches microscopic soot particles. When it fills, the engine dumps raw diesel into the exhaust to ignite a burn-off at over 600 degrees Celsius. They call it active regeneration. Sounds impressive. Here's the catch. It only works with sustained highway driving, not school runs, not city traffic, not your 15-minute commute to the office. Do those short suburban trips and the regeneration keeps getting interrupted, the filter blocks, the truck crawls into limp mode. The dealership then tells you completely straight-faced that you drove the vehicle incorrectly and hands you a bill for $5,000 to $8,000. I will never get over that one. You drove it incorrectly. Meaning you used a dual cab Ute exactly the way most Australians use a dual cab Ute. And the unburned diesel from those failed regeneration attempts washes straight past the piston rings into your oil sump. Your already ultra-thin oil is now being diluted with raw diesel. Put that compromised lubricant between a spinning crankshaft and unforgiving aluminum bearings machined to microscopic tolerances. You already know where that ends. Still think this is exaggeration? Toyota was hauled through federal court in a class action involving over 260,000 vehicles over defective DPF systems in their 2.8-liter diesel. When the brand famous for million-kilometer engines gets dragged into court over emissions failures, the problem is not isolated. It is industry-wide. The towing capacity lie. Right. Now I need to talk about what I genuinely believe is the single biggest lie being printed on any modern Ute brochure. The 3.5-ton towing capacity. This number is a mathematical fiction designed primarily to sell caravans to retirees with money burning a hole in their superannuation. And it is silently destroying drivetrains, voiding insurance policies, and potentially exposing owners to criminal negligence charges right across this continent. Here's how the deception works. When a manufacturer advertises a 3.5-ton towing limit, they bury the number that actually matters. That number is the gross combined mass, the GCM. The GCM is the absolute maximum legal weight of everything combined. The Ute itself, the trailer, the passengers, the fuel, the cargo, every single kilogram. Hook up a 3.5-ton caravan to your shiny new Ute, and you have consumed so much of that legal GCM allowance that your remaining payload in the actual vehicle drops to almost nothing. By the time you put a driver, a passenger, a full tank of fuel, and a basic overnight bag in the cab, you are at or over the legal combined weight limit. You legally cannot put a fridge in the tray, you cannot pack your tools, you cannot bring your camping gear, and here is where it stops being just a mechanical problem and starts being a legal one. If you are towing at that configuration and you get pulled over by a highway patrol officer with a portable weighbridge, you are defected on the spot, your registration can be suspended, your comprehensive insurance, the one costing you $3,000 a year on an $80,000 asset, is completely voided the moment you are found to be operating outside legal weight limits. And if, God forbid, you are involved in a serious accident while overweight, you are not just dealing with an insurance dispute. You are looking at potential criminal negligence charges. These vehicles are simply not engineered to safely haul the weights their marketing departments claim they can. The brochure number sells the dream. The GCM calculation quietly kills it. The technology fragility problem. Let us talk about what happens when you actually take these vehicles beyond the city limits, because this is where the gap between the marketing brochure and reality becomes almost comedically wide. The Australian outback has not changed. The corrugations are still there. The creek crossings are still there. The kangaroos are absolutely still there, doing whatever it is kangaroos think they are doing at 11 o'clock at night on a dark highway. Ask me how I know. A minor animal strike in a 1995 Hilux meant a bent steel bull bar and maybe a cracked headlight. Annoying. Manageable. A roadside fix with a hammer and a spare globe. A minor animal strike in a 2024 dual cab Ute is something else entirely. Because covering the front end of that modern Ute is a dense network of advanced driver assistance technology. There are millimeter wave radar modules hidden behind the grille. There are ultrasonic sensors embedded in the front bumper. There are high-definition cameras calibrated behind the windscreen for autonomous emergency braking and lane departure systems. Hit a medium-sized kangaroo at 80 kilometers an hour and you are not just bending metal. You are instantly destroying $5,000 to $10,000 worth of delicate electronic sensors that cannot simply be replaced. They require manufacturer-specific recalibration equipment and trained technicians. In regional Australia, that might mean a 6-week wait and a bill that makes the animal's strike look like the cheap part. Insurance companies have quietly started writing off brand new Utes after what should be minor front-end collisions, specifically because the cost of replacing and recalibrating the autonomous braking radar units and camera systems exceeds the practical salvage value of the truck. And just when you thought it could not get more complicated, the manufacturers have decided to add mild hybrid systems to the mix. 48-volt lithium-ion batteries, electric motor generators, massive new wiring harnesses, and complex thermal management systems. Strapped to an already fragile diesel drivetrain, designed to cross the Simpson Desert. You are mixing high-voltage electronics with bull dust, river crossings, and corrugations that would rattle the fillings out of your head. You are not buying a reliable Outback workhorse. You are buying a highly experimental science project dressed up in aggressive body cladding and sold to you at a price that should genuinely embarrass everyone involved. The finance trap. Now we get to the part that personally infuriates me. Because the mechanical fragility is one problem, but the financial structure being used to sell these vehicles to everyday Australians is, and I will choose this word carefully, predatory. Very few people are dropping $80,000 cash on the manager's desk. These vehicles are being moved almost exclusively through extended loan terms and novated leases. And the mathematics of both are absolutely brutal once you actually sit down and work through them. Let us do the maths. The finance manager is desperately hoping you cannot do in your head while he is sliding the contract across the desk and asking if you want a coffee. You finance $80,000 over 7 years at 8.5%. You are not paying $80,000. Over the full loan life, you will hand over north of $106,000, $26,000 in interest alone on a truck. Let that sink in for a second. But it gets worse because from the moment that Ute rolls over the curb, it is depreciating at a catastrophic rate. In the first 12 months, it loses roughly 20 to 25% of its value, nearly $20,000 gone, before you have made your 12th repayment. By year 3, right when the DPF is choking and the EGR is caked in sludge, your Ute is worth maybe $45,000 on the open market, but you still owe the bank $60,000. That gap is called negative equity. You cannot sell without writing a personal check just to clear the debt. You are a prisoner. The novated lease pitch is equally seductive. Pre-tax salary dollars, fringe benefits, tax concessions. Let the government help fund your work vehicle. Sounds brilliant until year 5 when the leasing company wants a balloon payment of $25,000 to $30,000 just for you to keep the vehicle you have been paying for this entire time. Refinance the balloon and you are trapped in another debt cycle. Hand the keys back and you walk away with absolutely nothing after 5 years of payments. I have watched this happen to hardworking people. It is not a glitch in the system. It is the system working exactly as designed. The dealer panic and market collapse. So what happens when you combine an $80,000 product with mechanical reliability concerns, a towing capacity that does not deliver what it promises, technology that falls apart on a dirt road, and a finance structure that traps buyers in negative equity? You get exactly what is happening right now. In mid-2026, on dealership lots from Parramatta to Rockingham, you get a collapse in retail demand so significant that the manufacturers are quietly entering a state of absolute panic. Here's something most consumers do not understand about how car dealerships actually operate. Dealers do not own the inventory sitting on their lots. They borrow money from the manufacturer's banking arm to purchase that stock and hold it. This is called floor plan financing. And every single day a vehicle sits unsold on that lot, the dealer pays interest on the money borrowed to buy it. In a healthy market, a well-managed dealership carries roughly 30 to 45 days worth of stock, enough to give buyers options without bleeding cash on idle inventory. Right now, across Australia, dealerships are sitting on 120, sometimes 150 days of unsold Ute inventory. Do the interest maths on that yourself. Across thousands of units at $80,000 each, the floor plan interest alone is eating these businesses alive. This is why we are seeing what we are seeing. Ford is slashing prices. Kia is offering $15,000 discounts on brand new hybrid Utes just to move metal before the financial year closes. Manufacturers are quietly briefing dealers to do whatever it takes to clear the yards before the depreciation clock ticks another quarter. They are panicking because the floor plan model only works when the product is moving. When it stops moving, the entire downstream financial structure starts to buckle. And here's the thing, even with those desperate discounts, the working class has stepped back because the math still does not work. Wages have not kept pace with the hyperinflation of the automotive sector. Diesel prices are punishing. Comprehensive insurance premiums on an $80,000 vehicle covered in radar sensors are absolutely skyrocketing. And the out-of-warranty repair costs for even a moderately complex mechanical failure are enough to give any rational person a stomach ulcer. The discount does not fix the fundamental problem. It just means you are getting fleeced for slightly less. The consumer awakening. Here's the part of the story that I find genuinely encouraging. Because while the modern Ute market is collapsing, something quietly remarkable is happening at the same time. The people who actually depend on these vehicles for their livelihoods, the tradies, the farmers, the outback operators, they have done the maths. And they have voted with their feet. Walk around any serious four-wheel drive club event right now. Talk to the blokes at the rural machinery field days. Hang around the servo on the Barclay Highway and watch what the working trucks actually are. You will notice something immediately. They are not new. Experienced buyers are actively hunting pre-2015 diesel Utes with mechanical injection systems, solid rear axles, and zero DPF equipment. 1 HDF TE Land Cruisers, TD42 Patrols, early Isuzu 4JJ1 Rodeos, Ford Couriers with the WL Turbo Diesel, bought with cash, often under $15,000, serviced meticulously, and run hundreds of thousands of kilometers without drama. I know a concreter from Toowoomba who sold his 2022 Ranger last year, still had 2 years left on a 6-year finance contract, wrote a check to settle the negative equity, told me it was the most expensive and most liberating thing he had ever done. Bought a 2004 70 Series Land Cruiser for $12,000 cash, changed the oil, replaced the belts, pressure washed the engine bay. 60,000 kilometers later, not a single unplanned repair. He sleeps at night now. That is what he told me. He sleeps at night. That is the consumer awakening. No protests, no media campaign, just quiet, practical, experienced people making intelligent decisions based on hard-won knowledge. The tradies who built this country on these machines know exactly what they are looking at when they lift a bonnet. And what they are seeing in the new generation is not giving them confidence. So here is where we land. The Australian ute market in 2026 is experiencing something that looks like a demand crisis, but is actually something more significant. It is a crisis of consumer awakening. The illusion has cracked. The gap between the marketing promise and the mechanical and financial reality has become wide enough that even casual buyers are starting to sense it, even if they cannot articulate exactly why. The $80,000 dual cab ute as a lifestyle symbol, as a status object, as a financially justifiable personal vehicle choice for the average working Australian, that era is drawing to a close. Not because Australians stopped loving utes, not because they stopped needing capable, reliable work vehicles, but because the product that is currently being sold under that name no longer genuinely is what it claims to be. A real ute is affordable to own across its full life. A real ute is mechanically honest enough that a competent owner can maintain and repair it themselves. A real ute can be overloaded, abused, ignored for 100 kilometers of corrugations and still get you home. The vehicles being parked under those dealership floodlights right now, slowly gathering dust and costing the dealer's floor plan interest by the day, do not meet any of those 3 criteria at the price point being asked, and the market knows it. If you are sitting on the fence about whether to buy a new ute or whether to keep paying down the finance on the one currently sitting in your driveway, I want you to do one thing before you make any decision. Get honest with yourself about the full cost of that vehicle. Not the monthly repayment, not the drive-away price. The full cost. Interest over the loan term. Insurance premiums on an $80,000 asset. The cost of a DPF replacement at 80,000 kilometers. The cost of an EGR clean at 100,000 kilometers, the residual value at the end of a 7-year finance term versus the amount still owed on the loan. Run that full number, then compare it to the cost of a mechanically sound, well-maintained, pre-2015 diesel with a proven engine and a full service history bought with cash. The number will tell you everything you need to know. Drop your ute story in the comments below right now. I want to know what you are driving, what it has cost you, and whether you are one of the ones who walked off the dealership lot or one of the ones who is still making that monthly payment and praying the DPF light does not come on this week. Share this video with every single mate you know who is thinking about buying a new ute right now. They need to see this before they sign anything. Subscribe if you want the unfiltered truth about Australian vehicles without the corporate filter. I will see you in the next one.